Hi, my name is Carlos Ferreira, and I'm going to show you how you can connect your Amazon Echo or Dot with the Watson Assistant Solution Service. The Watson Assistant Solution Service allows you to create skills and AI assistants that can run anywhere. In this tutorial, I'm going to focus on one of the steps that's in this GitHub project, which is to actually connect your Amazon Alexa Dot with your Watson Solution skills. And how I'm going to do that is the following. We are going to leverage my existing Amazon Alexa Dot, and we're going to have that connect to the Alexa voice service just like you would do today. But rather than connect to your skill that would just respond immediately, we're actually going to create a skill that will actually send the utterance that the user spoke back to Watson Assistant Solutions core, which is going to evaluate that utterance and then determine which Watson Assistant skill to call. I'm going to demonstrate a couple of different skills and skill sets that it's going to call. I'll be calling some built-in skills like the weather skill, as well as the movie search skill, which is a custom skill that I built. The Watson Assistant Solutions core will send the utterance and evaluate it to each of the different skills, both the built-in skills and also the custom skills that I've built. It'll pick and choose the right skill, and then the skill will invoke a back-end fulfillment service, which will respond with the information, in this case the weather. That response will get sent back to the Watson Assistant Solutions core with the correct set of intents, confidence score, and the card data, and the response text. This will be sent back to our connection app that connects the Watson Alexa voice service to the Watson Assistant Solutions AI assistant. And that will then get sent back to the Alexa voice service, which will then send the response back to the client. So to give you a quick demonstration of this, let me demonstrate the completed skill so you can see it. All right, you can access Watson Assistant Solutions through our developer console. You can also access Watson Assistant Solutions through your Amazon Alexa, and that's what I'm going to show you now. And I already have a skill that's deployed, which is called Speak to Watson on Amazon. And we're going to communicate with it right now. Alexa, speak to Watson.
Welcome to Watson Assistant. How can I help you?
What can you do?
I can answer questions about movies, traffic, weather, news, sports, and Twitter.
Give me the traffic.
What city do you want to know about? Chicago, Providence, Austin, London, or San Francisco?
Boston.
Stir Dr. Ibby seeing leftover delays from an earlier overnight truck before Kenmore Square 41 minutes ago.
What's the news in Providence?
Fire damages Fairhaven Diner 45 minutes ago.
What movies is Jack Nicholson in?
Jack Nicholson is known for The Shining. Jack Torrance accepts a caretaker job at the Overlook Hotel, where he, along with his wife Wendy and their son Danny, must live isolated from the rest of the world for the winter. But they aren't prepared for the madness that lurks within. The Departed. To take down South Boston's Irish Mafia, the police send in one of their own to infiltrate the underworld, not realizing the syndicate has done likewise. While an undercover cop curries favor with the mob kingpin, a career criminal rises through the police ranks. But both sides soon discover there's a mole among them. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. While serving time for insanity at a state mental hospital, implacable rabble-rouser Randall Patrick McMurphy inspires his fellow patients to rebel against the authoritarian rule of head nurse Mildred Dratchett.
Okay, I'm going to show you those same skills now using the Watson Assistant Solutions console. You can actually connect to it through the console here, pick the skill set that you're going to communicate with, and we're going to communicate. All right, so this gave me the weather in Boston. I can also communicate with my own skills that I've created and skill sets. So I actually have a skill set that I've already created here. If I scroll down, called Communicate, and this will give me some of the answers I asked earlier, questions I asked earlier. I can also do this inside of other client applications. For example, I could do this inside of Slack. You notice here, it actually gives me a preview of the information as well, the entities, the intent as well. So let's get started on how to actually code this up. So you can create your own Amazon Alexa skill that will allow your Alexa to speak with the Watson Assistant solution. The way to do that is to follow the directions in this GitHub project. This requires that you have the Watson Assistant Solution Service that I mentioned. There's a free trial for that. It also requires that you understand how to use Python and Flask. You step through the directions here on setting up your Python and Flask. You also need to set up your accounts for Watson Assistant Solutions. There's a link here for a 90-day trial that you can use. And also your IBM Cloud account. This you can click here and sign up for that. There's also a free account that you can sign up for there. And that will be where we deploy our Amazon Alexa skill that will allow it to connect to Watson Assistant Solutions, is on the IBM Cloud. You want to also install the IBM Cloud command line interface. And with that, you will be able to do the following. Clone this repository, modify this application manifest file with the information for your own skill name, and then log in using the command line tools to pick the API location, which in this case is North America, target your own organization and space, do a Bluemix CF push in that directory that the manifest file is in. You can check to see if your Amazon Alexa skill to connect to Watson Assistant Solutions is deployed by doing a Bluemix app list. You should see your application name that you've named it. The URL will be whatever you called it, .bluemix.net. You can troubleshoot by looking at the logs by typing Bluemix app logs and then your application name -recent. How you actually create a skill is outlined on our Watson Assistant Solutions documentation. You can actually click on this and open up a new window here. The documentation will teach you how to step-by-step go through and create a Watson Assistant Solution skill. There is a boilerplate skill provided for Node.js. There's also one for Python if you prefer to do that. Just reach out to me and I'll show you how to do that. You can follow the directions on how to create the skill, the Node.js Watson Assistant Solution skill. Using the documentation, it'll step you through step by step. Once you've done that, you want to create a skill set. The skill set is how we group together skills that you can speak with in natural language without having to call out a specific skill name. You can do that in these steps here. And again, if you want to troubleshoot your skill, you actually just do the Bluemix app logs skill name. Now, the last step is what I'm doing here, which is going to be creating your Amazon Alexa skill to speak with Watson Assistant Solutions. The demonstration I gave earlier already has a Watson Assistant Solutions skill connection app up on Amazon Alexa. So how are you going to do that?
Okay, so we're going to take you through the steps on how to create your Amazon Alexa Speak with Assistant connector. And we're going to do this live, so that way there you can learn a little bit as well from any errors that come up so that you can better troubleshoot it yourself. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the repository here in GitHub. We're going to copy the URL to the repository, and then we're going to clone it. So let's go to the command line, and this assumes you have Git already. This is my present working directory, a tutorial. I don't have anything in there right now. I'm going to do git clone the URL that I just copied. That's going to copy the code down here locally. Okay, now that we have the code locally, what we're going to do is we are going to do the steps to push the code from my local desktop up to IBM Cloud Bluemix. And this requires that you do the steps that are listed here. I've already have an IBM Cloud account. I also have already downloaded and installed the IBM Cloud CLI, and so we just did this step, the fork. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the next step, which is modify the Manifest Dot Yml. This is what IBM Cloud Bluemix uses to determine what to name your connection application, and this will be what we call. So we're going to go ahead and modify that file. What you can do is you can just go ahead and jump into the source directory here, and you'll actually see the code under Flask Ask. We're just going to open up the source directory inside of our favorite editor and modify this Manifest.yml file. So let's go to that. Do a new window. So Atom is a IDE. You can use your own IDE, and we're just going to open up that source code file. Go to Workspaces, Tutorial, open the tutorial folder up. Okay, and we're going to open up the manifest file under the source directory. Under Flask Ask, and then under here you'll actually see the manifest file. We're going to change this to our own application name. If you want, make it unique, so maybe use your own initials. So I'm just going to call this CMF connection app Alexa. Well, I'll just call it connection Alexa. Okay, now that we've modified the manifest file, we're going to go ahead and log in and push the app. So this is the present working directory. If I do an ls here, you'll see the manifest file that we modified. We're going to do a Bluemix login, but before we log in, we're going to say what API to connect to. So we're going to connect to the API. Okay, and now it's saying I need to log in. But what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to update my command line first. Actually, I'm going to not update it. I'm just going to say no. And then I'm going to do a Bluemix login SSO. You won't have to do the SSO option. I do because I'm with IBM. And I'm going to say yes. And this is the one-time code. paste it in here. Okay, it's authenticated. It'll prompt me for my organization. I'm going to do my IBM account. And I'm going to say, no, I don't want to update that. Okay, now I just want to make sure that I am targeting the right organization and space. You'd replace this with your own organization and space. Okay, so now I am connected. And now I can do the Bluemix commands to push this. So now I'm going to do a Bluemix CF push. And this will push the code that I just copied and modified to IBM Cloud. And it'll use the manifest file that in the directory that I'm in. Okay, so it pushed my code and it restarted my app. It says the app is up and running, and now I can verify that it's there. You notice it called it the CMF connection Alexa. So let's go and log in there to Bluemix Cloud to make sure that the application is there. If you've signed up over here for an IBM Cloud account, you'd be able to just log right in. I'm already have an account, so it's going to log me right in. And then we can just find the resource by looking for that name. Okay, when we search for it, we actually see the Cloud Foundry app, which is the connection app skill. And you can also access the logs through here. And you can also visit the app URL. So if you actually click on this, this will actually launch your app with the name there. And you can look at the logs again through here if you want. I'm actually going to look at them through the command line. So I'm going to do Bluemix app logs, the name of your app, recent. And one of the things you're going to find is it's actually missing. You're going to make sure that you have a .env file in your Flask ask directory, and you want to enter in the skill set name that you want to communicate, as well as your Watson Assistant API key. You can put that in here. And once you do that, then you can save it and repush it. The skill set, you actually created that earlier in another step inside of Watson Assistant. If you come here into Watson Assistant, you'll actually see that I already have a skill set called Communicate right there. And the way you create that, you can actually just come over here and create your skill set. Click on Conversation, give it your name, create skill set. And we're going to try it out and give it a name. So my Alexa skill, well, we'll just call it Alexa for my skill set. And then you can hit create. And this is going to create a skill set. You can see here, skill set was added successfully. So whatever you call it, you can put that in here in that .env file in the Flask ask directory. The other thing you got to do is you got to create a skill and add a skill to that skill set. I already have one. I'm going to go ahead and add a skill to that skill set. So you can come over here to add one or more skills to a skill set, and we will add the skill called movie, and it's called movie search. Execute. So this was a skill I already had You can see it added a skill to my, called movie search, to my Alexa skill set. So now if I come back to the development console in Watson Assistant Solutions, I can scroll down and I can look for the Alexa skill, and actually you can see the skill set that's there, and I can interact with my skill. Okay, now we're going to register the Alexa connection skill on the Amazon Alexa developer portal. And the way you get there is there's actually a link here to the developer account. You can click on that and then click on sign in. I already have an account, but you can create your own account here by clicking on create your Amazon developer account. And then you want to come over here, click on skill builders. You want to start a skill. You want to create a skill. You want to give it a skill name. You want to choose custom. Leave the language to English. You want to start from scratch. You want to give it an invocation name. You can call it an invocation name like connect to, and you can give it your own name, but I'm going to say connect to Watson. You want to add intents, and you want to create a custom intent here called all intents. You can actually click on bulk edit, and you can drag and drop in the CSV file for that. Okay, and then we also want to come down here and add a slot type. Create a custom slot type called list of phrases. Same thing here, we want to bulk edit in the all intents utterances. This will allow it so that anything that the user says will actually be sent to Watson Assistant. Okay, and now we want to make sure that our all intents slot type is the list of phrases that we just added. At this point we can save the model. We can also build the model. And once it's done, it'll say the build successful, as you can see down here on the right. And now we want to add the endpoints. And we want to use not the AWS Lambda endpoint, we want to use the one for the IBM Cloud. You can figure that out by going to the IBM Cloud where we did the Bluemix CF push. You can either click on visit app URL, and that will launch it that way, or you can come over here to routes and get the URL as well. I'll put that URL right here. We want to pick this option. My development endpoint is a subdomain. And then we want to save it. And it'll say the skill manifest was saved successfully. And then at this point, we'll actually want to be able to test this. And we could actually test this through the console here, or you can even register your own Alexa device. Okay, so at this point now, we've built it. We have an invocation name, the intents, we tested it, we built our model, we added the endpoint, and now we're ready to connect to it by testing it. So what's going to happen here, we go to the test. Now in order to test, you have to do a couple of things. You also have to enable your own Alexa Dot device as a developer testing tool, or you can just test it in here. I'm going to turn on testing for this skill. I'm going to use the command to invoke it, Alexa, and then we did an invocation name called speak to, or connect to Watson, right? Connect to Watson. And
Welcome to Watson Assistant. How can I help you?
so this is showing that it was able to connect. And if you recall, last time we asked, we specified Alexa as the connection, the skill set. And we can come over here and ask the same question now from Amazon Alexa. What movies is Tom Hanks in?
Tom Hanks is known for Forrest Gump. A man with a low IQ has accomplished great things in his life and been.
So at that point now, you can see that we've successfully created an Amazon Alexa skill that connects to our Watson Assistant Solutions console. So we just uttered it, invoked the Alexa voice service, went to our Alexa skill, went to a Watson core, called the service. In this case, it wasn't the weather service. It actually called the movie service that I have. Sent back the response to the Watson Assistant Solutions core. That sent it back to our Alexa skill that we created and deployed on IBM Cloud. And that sent it back to the Alexa voice service, which then responded back in the audio. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thanks.